Greetings and welcome, my name is Aaron Craig with Beyond Us Games, and we've got a new release note rundown to go through. And in this one, I'm actually super excited because GameMaker has some new features that you will probably use all the time. So the first two, and really the big changes, are going to be they now have an object variable tab, and you can see inherited parent events. So I'm going to show you that inside of GameMaker Studio 2 in just a second, but first I want to mention that they do have some bug fixes over here. If you are on Ubuntu or Mac, they now have 64-bit games. They fixed a huge list of bugs, and of course the known issues here as well. So let's jump into GameMaker Studio 2, and I want to show you that they have, the first thing is a new variable definitions tab underneath the physics for an object. Inside of here, you can now add variables and you can give them names. So you can give them like my health or something like that, and you can tell it the type. Now this I think is going to be very useful, if for nothing else, for people that don't realize that there are types inside of GameMaker Studio 2. So you have booleans, you have a color, you have real and string. These are things that you can set it to be right here. That way you always know what type it is inside of your game. Now, it doesn't go through and add all of the variables already inside of your object. If it did that, I think it would be extremely useful and I would probably use it. For any existing project you have, this might not be that useful, as going through and setting up all the variables, which this one doesn't have much, setting up all the variables would take a very long time, and if you're very much into your project, it might not be worth it. One very useful thing though is if you're going to add a color, you now have a color picker inside of here. So you can choose from a wide range of colors, and it will give you the value for that, or you can just refer to it by name. And you can have as many of these as you want, and you can also set some options depending on what it is. So if you're using like a number, you can use a range, which could be very useful. If you are doing a list of objects, you can add it right from here, and you can choose inside of that list which number you want or which item you're using. Now the other really cool thing that is going to be useful, I think, all the time, is being able to see the events from parents. Now this object right here has a parent called NPC parent. So if I go into the here, you can see that this has several events that I have set up for this parent. And then if you go into its child, you can now see that it has those events, but they are kind of like ghosted, as they're called. They're grayed out, so you can see them and you can look at their code, but you can't change it here because it is from a parent event, so I can't make any changes. So this is really, really useful. And if you override the event, you can see here that this create event and the parent create event is quite different, but I'm using event inherited, and so it's gathering that code all right here, and then I can make those changes. So I'm really excited for these changes. I think that Yo-Yo Games is on a good path. They are making some very useful functionality. I think that they could have done the variable definitions just a little bit better, but it's a good start, and there might be a way to update that in the future. So all in all, I think this is a really great update. I would encourage you to get it downloaded, check it out, and play around with it so you know how to use it. That's all I've got for you though. Thanks for joining me, and as always, have fun making great games, and I'll talk to you later.